What's up, everyone? Welcome back to everyone's favorite baseball talk show. I'm your host for today, Mara Kane, here with my esteemed panel of baseball experts. We've got Kaden, who's leaving right now, Riley, Brian, Katie, and Jackson.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
What are we doing?
I'm supposed to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, that's okay though. That's okay. We've got it. So, welcome back to everyone's favorite show, Touching All Bases. First up, we have a Haymate heartbreak. I've never heard of that until today. Francisco Lindor, Corbin Carroll, and Jackson Holliday, all dealing with broken Haymate bones. Am I saying that right? Probably. Not ideal, not fun, and not what you want to see in February. Lindor's expected back by opening day, but we all know these injuries can mess with power early on. So here's my question for you guys. Are we brushing this off too quickly, or is this something that could actually impact us later on in the season?
What's a haymate bone?
It's in your
okay.
It's similar. Oh, do you actually have a drawing?
I have a drawing right here. So this is what the hand looks like. These are all the bones in the hand. So it's this one right here by the pinky.
Right here.
And you get it from usually the most common way that you can injure your hamate. It's usually like a stress fracture from swinging the bat. So that's like if you're jamming while you're swinging or just like high velocity pitches and swings.
Do I have that many bones in my hand? Like, is it every circle a bone, or is it one long?
Well, see,
bone?
the thing is like no, it's these are all bones because I counted. I have a picture right here on my computer.
Okay.
So yeah, you have 4 bones in each finger except for your thumb. There's 3, and then there's a lot of little bones down here. I didn't want to count though, and so there's probably not that many.
You know, I've seen a skeleton.
But pretty
I've never
close.
seen a skeleton.
That is anatomically
like a lie.
Oh my gosh, anatomically correct.
That's impressive.
The word was not, but that was.
Great job,
But,
Ryan.
So what does it mean for baseball?
I was like, who's gonna next?
Lesson.
It means that pitchers are throwing balls too fast and hitters are swinging at balls too hard.
Well, I did.
Wow, great.
Obviously, you can tell we are not
We're super
biology
prepared for
majors
this.
or nurses, luckily. But what I'm read up here, at least on Google AI, because that's what we use every day, is that it's caused from chronic repetitive strain from batting. So typically it's stress on that point, and usually if you hold a bat, this is like showing in the picture that she had that it's kind of like right on the heel. So I'm assuming when someone hits, obviously your hand's right on the bottom of the butt of the bat. Is it the butt? The knob of the bat.
Yeah.
And so when you swing, I'm assuming when it hits,
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's the repetitive strain and stress
Yeah,
of
it's
constantly hitting that
the
point.
exact point where the little like knob of the bat hits on your hand.
So is this a thing that happens often? Like, is this like an epidemic type of
Well,
thing?
the thing
in
is, I've
baseball?
never heard about it before, and then I opened up like MLB rumors today, and I was like, it was like hamate
I've
injury,
definitely
hamate
heard
injury,
about it.
hamate injury.
I wonder
I've
if-
definitely
Yeah.
heard about it.
It
I
seems
wonder if it's differently classified now. Sometimes the injury will just be like a stress factor, and then they get more specific because they realize there's a correlation to it, and they start calling it a hamate injury. So maybe it's the first time they've called it that.
Well, I think like
This happened a lot.
with Lindor, like he's supposed to be
Turf toe was like
back.
that.
Lindor, he's supposed to be back opening day. Carroll and Holiday, they're out till like May, June. So
Ooh.
I think Lindor's was like more of like a stress fracture that he just got like surgery just to like correct it and just so it doesn't get worse over time. So that's what I took from it. Like it's just like you get it done before it gets too bad, I guess.
I say all these haymate.
Does anyone know how to say it?
Haymate?
Oh, it is Haymate. I looked it up.
Hamate.
It is hamate?
Haymate.
Haymate.
Hamate.
It's probably hey, mate.
I-
Haymate without the Y, I guess. But all these injuries kind of give me like, this sounds bad, but like NFL ACL vibes. Like everyone is
That's
coming down with the
really
exact
old.
same. It's like it's not the same
What about
severity.
NFL turf toe vibes? I feel like that's what it is.
Because I don't feel like as many people came out with turf toe though.
Sure.
But
So many people
okay.
come out every.
I feel like
every
I heard a
year
lot
with,
about
like,
turf toe
ACL.
last
Turf
year,
toe-
so
turf
I
toe
feel
is
like
a
that could
very-
be
and turf
it.
toe is also one of the worst named injuries. Turf toe is a very painful injury that can leave you out for months at
Yeah,
a
and
time.
it sounds so childish.
Exactly.
But who
It
else
sounds
had it
so
last
stupid.
year? It was
Joe
like-
Burrow had turf toe.
Joe Burrow
Yeah, but it was
had
just
it.
All
Burrow.
of Joe Burrow was turf toe.
But who
All
else
of
had it last year? Because my thought is like the consistency, or like not the consistency, but like the repetition of how many people have it.
Turf toe
Repetitive
used to be
amounts.
called a stress fracture of some kind, and then they realized that it was happening so often, like the way they pivot on the ground
Yeah.
and the way they cut was so frequently affecting you. So it would be, turf toe got its own name, and I feel like a haymate fracture, whatever it would be called, might be the same thing. That's what made me think of that correlation.
I think
Like,
injury-wise
maybe
it
it's
is,
not
but I'm
a
talking about
stress
like the repetitive like
frequency?
announcements. Is that this person went out, this person went out, this person went out. That's what we see in like NFL or even in basketball with like ACL. Basketball, I think it's more like back to like hamstring.
Knee
I would think
little knee
knee
soreness
soreness,
and
like
stuff,
those type of
yeah.
things. like it's just the repetitiveness of like this person's out with this person's out with the same exact injury, this one's out with the same exact injury.
This just
It just
seems
seems
like
kinda
a blip to me almost. Like I don't think it's this frequent normally. I think it's
Okay.
just kind of random that 3 people had it in a row, but I don't know. Riley, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just nothing that I've been like, oh yeah, it's the haymate again or whatever.
I mean, I want to say like a couple. I've seen a couple like Braves players have issues with it. I want to say Ozzy Albies broke his a year or 2 ago. He broke his, but
She hasn't said it yet.
I don't need
Yeah,
to.
she doesn't want to say it.
Haymate bone.
Yeah, she can't say it. That wasn't very good.
Okay,
Ozzy
talk.
Albies. Okay, yeah, back to you, Mark.
Can I ask why Kaden's like
Ridiculous.
5 feet in the air?
I don't know, and I
why is
choose
it
not to
like
ask those questions anymore because Caden's very unpredictable. Second up, we have the Braves have a serious problem. Spencer Schwellenbach, which I think I said right, and Hurston Waldrop, both out for significant time. And suddenly the Braves rotation depth not looking so deep. The market is thinning out, so I want to know, do you guys think that the Braves need to make a move right now, or are we overreacting before preseason is even heating up?
Yes, absolutely. We need a pitcher ASAP because we have Bryce Elder in our rotation still. It's 2026, and Bryce Elder is still going to be getting meaningful starts in 2026. I really can't take it anymore. I need the guy off my team, and we were on Chris Bassett. He just signed with the Orioles. We were on Zach Gallen. He just re-signed with the Diamondbacks. I've said it for the past 3 years. Our general manager is the worst in the league, and he needs to be out of my city ASAP. I hate Alex Anthopoulos. He does absolutely nothing and hasn't addressed the rotation in 2 years.
I fully agree. I think that the idea of like now we should go for a star is a little ridiculous because I feel like we're so far past that and stuff. Like it's not even about pitching and it's not even about replacing Schwellenbach. I think that for the last 3 years, like you said, we've needed to be more bold and go after free agents of a higher caliber in free agency and bring guys back. I mean, like we're broke and we're cheap. We're not broke, but we're cheap. We don't pay for players. And I feel like you could have said 3 years ago, like, man, this is the time to go out and get someone great. You could have said that 2 years ago and last year. And you could have said we need pitching even before Schwellenbach was hurt. You could have said we need to get someone great, even if whether it's a pitcher or a position player, so be it. Now that Schwellenbach is hurt, I think we should prioritize pitching and maybe the desire to get a more mid-level pitcher might be higher for this team than it was before the injury, but I think the desire to get a star, we're so far beyond, like, is now the time. Like, I think every Braves fan agrees. Like, we need to make a push in something.
We needed a starter before these injuries, and now after these injuries, we need it even more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's a star. We just need a quality three-tier starter.
Yeah, we need a 3.5 ERA, 500 pitcher.
That was Chris Bassett.
Yeah,
Right there.
this should have been straight up a problem we solved 2 or 3 years ago, and every single offseason we've done absolutely nothing. I think that's obviously what Anthopoulos has done. I feel like as a whole, the Braves organization has been behind in the league, I think, for the past few years, managerial-wise. I mean, obviously, we lost Snitker. He's retired. We brought up some guy that, honestly, I didn't know was on the team. But I do think this pitching situation needs to be solved because right now we're rocking with Chris Sale. That's obviously going to be our day one starter. Probably one of the best pitchers in the league, top 5 even in my opinion. Obviously got Strider, we got Reynaldo Lopez, Grant Holman, of course, Bryce Elder. We've voiced our frustration about him before, so obviously we don't want him in there. But I do think the reason why the Braves specifically don't go after pitching and why they don't go after big name guys is because we have a little something coming up where we got to worry about money for Ronald Acuna Jr. And I think that's what the Braves are freaking out about, because you've seen a lot of big-name guys go recently for millions and millions of dollars, especially Soto has really jacked up the market. So I think primarily this is them freaking out over the next time we got to sign Acuna again to a contract, which honestly at the rate this team is going, I think we're going to lose him. But pitching-wise, they need to figure out something.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. We talked about it last week. The Braves are pretty high in World Series odds. And I was just looking at rotation rankings. And before the Schwellenbach injury, the Braves rotation was at 5. So that's obviously a big piece in was getting them so high in the World Series odds. So I definitely think that obviously this loss is a huge loss for them. But I want to ask y'all, like Braves fans, who do you want, like at this point in free agency, who is there left? Like who do you want to trade for? Do y'all have any solutions?
There's literally no one that I know of right now.
Charlie Morton.
No. No. No.
No, I mean, yeah, there's no one for that one. There's
literally
no
no
real.
one.
There is no one right now that we can go
Reeves?
get. We've missed our opportunity 3 years in a row.
I also want to make it worse. I said this to Riley a few weeks ago. Like, I feel like we say too quickly as Braves fans, like, okay, well, we got Strider and we got Chris Sale. It's like a 1-2. Like, Strider's been hurt constantly.
I'm not
and Chris,
confident.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
Chris Sale's 36 years old. Strider. I'm gonna say right now, I would bet that we don't get a relatively full season of very good production from both Strider and Sale. Like Sale being 36 years old or Strider being injury prone. Like I think you can say we got one ace in those two. Like one collectively throughout those two pitchers. Like I'm worried about every part of this team. And if we're saving money like this to keep Acuna, like I don't think gutting your team, letting everyone leave after winning a World Series to keep one guy is the best solution, especially after 2 ACLs. Like Acuna's in a weird spot where it's like we're gonna be there's a chance we're a relatively middle of the road to bad team, and he's had 2 ACLs and we don't pay him, we don't give him a discount for that, and he makes, he does what Juan Soto did and what Kyle Tucker did, what everyone's done, and it's like, oh my God, this contract is so much better than we expected, and it's so much more, and he's the highest paid player now and stuff, and then we have a 13-year deal to this guy who's been hurt twice, and it's like we've lost all these players and we have no money. I don't love that solution.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, just brings back, not for us to sound like a broken record, why we need a salary cap.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the Braves shouldn't have to be doing this just so that they can keep this big name player, and knowing that they're going to have to save up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, just to try to outbid teams like the Dodgers, the Mets. So I think, to fix this problem and to fix these frustrations that fans have, the MLB needs a salary cap so that you're able to allocate money more evenly to where the team actually needs it, instead of just saving up a ton of money so that you can try to hold on to a big name player that's bringing in lots of fans.
I think Acuna's price tag will be set and locked in after this season, because he hasn't had a fully healthy season and since 2020. Tore his ACL 21, came back iffy 22, had the MVP season 23, which is the season, and then 24 came back from injury, and then last year came back from injury. But so this will be his first season since his MVP season to have a full, show us what he can do type of season, and after this season, it will really set in stone what he's really worth whenever he hits.
But if if he's, sorry to stay on this for a little long, but if he's third in MVP voting and says I want 15 years, $900 million, would y'all, and let's say we give him that, I feel like we would all talk ourselves into that in 5 days. We would all be like, after 5 days, yeah, exactly, be like, that's fine, yeah. See, and but Katie, would you say that's a lot of money? An insane amount for someone with 2, is it MCL or 2 ACL?
2 ACL.
2 ACL injuries?
Yeah.
I feel like logically speaking, that's a bad idea. And if you say, hey, the reason we didn't re-sign any of these guys or be acting free agency these last 3 years was to give Acuna $15,900, I would say that was bad business. But also, if that happened next year, y'all would see me being like, you know what, guys, I love Acuna. It's okay. It is weird how that works. But I think that's a bad contract looking at it now. And I think that's the road we're headed down. I don't like that right now.
I don't think it's a proper contract to give him, considering he's had several injuries and he hasn't had a full season since 2023. But realistically, that is the best chance they have to retain him, because the Dodgers or Yankees or whatever team's going to give him that same type of contract to say, come here and play. But for me, this just speaks to Anthopoulos being a very weak, just a very, very weak person, minute person for the organization. That's what it feels to me.
I don't see an issue with these injuries.
You don't see an issue with
You don't see an
With the injury?
No, I'm talking. We're going back to the pitcher. I haven't given my opinion yet.
Oh.
So I'm just sitting out here. I'm not upset. I'm not upset. I don't really know who these people are, so I can't be tied into it. But in all seriousness, it is bad to see your pitchers go down. I'm an Orioles fan. Last year we went through tons of injuries. It derailed our season. Somehow we still, I think we finished last in our division. So still finished last. What's new in Baltimore? But I will say that it is something that you guys have to go try and find. You have to try and find a solution to get through, but I don't think everything is lost with the Braves. The Braves were still able to pull out, I think it was 76 wins last year with battling those injuries, people coming back, people getting injured, the whole Profar suspension issue. I think you guys will be in decent contention. I don't think you'll be able to live up to those odds of the World Series simply for the fact that you don't have the depth. and you don't have the trust in the injuries. Now, when we go back to Ronald Acuna, giving him 15, I know it's a hypothetical, but giving him 15 years, $900 million at 28 years old is
that's
absolutely
not,
insane.
It's not gonna be 15.
With 2 ACLs, I'm thinking
Honestly,
like 8.
Yeah.
I can do. I didn't want to do the math of like.
Well, no, that's
if it
fair.
was 12.
That's when I was like, I took a second. I was
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
15 years.
Just,
But
whatever
if
that
you-
is, make it 12 years.
Like
Correct, like-
60
Yeah.
million.
I could see the Braves probably offering like somewhere between 6 and 8 years contract. I could see that coming through.
If he says I want 12 and we say 6 or 8, then he's leaving immediately.
Correct,
Yeah,
and then he's going to
Someone's
go
gonna give
on.
him 12. Yeah.
But I also don't.
Leaving immediately.
I'm more on the side that the team should just invest in the future at that point because there's no reason in putting that much money into an injury-prone 28-year-old outfielder who really is good when he's healthy, but he hasn't been healthy, like you said, in 5 years.
then we should
So
have been investing in the basketball offseason. But yeah, we can.
correct.
I feel like we don't entirely have to invest in now because people forget. And when we won the World Series that year, we were struggling at the deadline, and Anthopoulos went all in. And
The
alarm.
luckiest thing
I know the red
ever.
alarm went
that
off,
now.
and he
That's
went
fine.
and panicked, and he got his
He's
guys, and
tried.
we still won the World Series.
Yeah.
So he's proved he can do it, and he can, obviously manage the Braves and get the guys they need. It's just when the alarm goes off of, oh crap, I might get fired, or we might not make the playoffs, is when they do it. So obviously he's done it before. Why can't he do it again?
You
He's
can't
like
you
billion-
can't praise him for that
Yeah,
2021 thing.
I
'Cause
think-
he's tried to recreate the same thing. You'll like if you look back, you'll see our acquisitions and like the trade deadline. They're all
always
crap, and he just hopes that they like in 21. He hopes that they flourish.
He's like Billy
Yeah.
Napier.
Yeah.
Because Billy Napier
heard that.
always wants like he's on the firing seat. He's on like he's gonna get fired, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just pulls out like 3 and 2 down the stretch, and all of a sudden he's at 500 again.
Yeah.
And that's the Florida Gators head coach. If people that are watching this don't
No
know who it
longer
is.
the Florida Gators.
He's now JMU. Shout out Dukes. But
That's gonna be great for them.
yeah. But that's where I'm sitting there like he's the same way where it's like he just finds a way to somehow save his job just enough so that the ownership goes.
Yeah, but the thing
Or like
is,
the
Literally
other
just a
people
Mike
I don't
Tomlin.
even think he's.
Literally
Yeah.
just Mike Tomlin.
I don't
Exactly.
I don't even think he's on the hot seat. Like I don't even think
I don't
he's
think so.
even
He's not.
close to being fired
He's got the seat warmer on, but it's on low.
because
Yeah.
of fans, not.
It's comfortability.
Yeah.
Actually, 75% of Braves fans love the guy, so he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got some drama in the city of brotherly love, or I like to call it the city that literally can't catch a break. Nick Castellanos, whoa, don't boo me,
It's like boo-hoo.
released for having a beer in the dugout in Miami after being benched. And now he's with the Padres, and the Phillies are still paying most of his salary. To me, this feels more like a reality TV show at this point, because it's just one thing after another after another. But I want to know what you guys think. Is this overblown, or is this a depiction of the culture of Philadelphia?
I think Philadelphia sports made the playoffs in all of their 3 sports last season, and they're like 1 year removed of a Super Bowl. So, boo-hoo. All right, yeah. If you want to be a Falcons, Braves, and Grizzlies fan with me, then I don't know if it'll be much happier for you.
And
But
the baseball team went to the NCLS, wasn't it? Or was it the NDLS? The Phillies
the
last
Phillies, they
Last year and the year
they underperformed. But
back
hey,
to back years, they've gone at least to like
if-
the last 8 teams or whatever it is.
if the Braves could do what the Phillies did last year, I'd be happier. It would have been better. It would have been a better reality. But yeah, and if the Falcons won a Super Bowl, I wouldn't complain about Atlanta for 150 years.
Had a chance.
So
have them
yeah,
both?
because I want to talk about this. Okay, I don't know what's happened to this country or this sport, but getting in trouble for having a beer at the dugout is ridiculous. I don't understand that at all. Okay, the greatest baseball player of all time, I guess the second greatest baseball player of all time was like doesn't remember some of the games he played in. He was drinking so much. Babe Ruth was a blackout drunk. He was a full-on alcoholic throughout his career. That's not okay. But like, I mean, if you think a beer relaxes you to help your swing, be a little more patient, be able to see the ball a little bit better, you should be able to have 1 beer before a game, okay? Obviously, if a player is struggling with an addiction and it's to the detriment of his team, that should be on a more of a player-to-player basis. But I think this whole like walk as slow as our slowest person and stuff, and assuming if a guy has a beer, it's because he can't put a beer down is ridiculous. And I think if you remove that possibility, the idea of someone, again, wanting to have 1 beer after the game or before the game or in any context should be allowed on the dugout. Do you mean to pass the mic or put it
Yeah,
back?
because he didn't get released because he had a beer. He got released because he caused trouble to the team. He criticized the team. He criticized the players while probably being intoxicated. And this affected the team because Kyle Schwarber the other day, he got asked about the incident. Kyle Schwarber was like, oh, it's hard to say like what that meant, like what that did to the team. Like he didn't want to say because it obviously meant something. It's not just because, oh, he had a beer. Like no, it hurt the team and it hurt the players and it hurt the management, and that ultimately led to him getting released by the team.
There's got to be some type of black cloud or like curse on Nick Castellanos because he only hits home runs or plays well when they're bad events. I mean, that is just like the history of his entire career. And then he gets released with this whole intoxicated beer, I forgot what the word is, but like holding a beer basically. What is it called? In possession of a beer in the dugout.
Public intoxication. In possession is if you're a minor possession, or public
Well,
intoxication.
no, that's MIP. That's when you put minor in front of it.
He's in the major leagues.
There's no
He's
minor,
in
just
possession.
in possession.
She thought it was funny. She had to be annoyed at me.
No,
so.
I actually was.
She
Either way, I just think it's funny that this is how his Phillies tenure ends. Is that he got kicked out for having a beer? That's what it was. Got released for having a beer. He basically got bounced from the dugout, which would be a sick nightclub name, but it's just not what it is. I will say, best bench rotation, probably Cody Bellinger and Nick Castellanos. Best bench rotation right there. You just hang out in a dugout, talk ball, wait for the next inning to come up. Those are the two people I want to talk to. I think it'd be fun. They'd have a very fun conversation.
Yeah, to be the starting pitcher that pitched the day before and you're sitting there and stuff. Yeah, I guess that's not what they're saying, but yeah.
Just talking.
Nice.
Would I partake in their adventurous hobbies? Probably not. But just to sit there and talk.
You wouldn't
to
have
would be fun.
one beer if Nick Castellanos offered you one beer in the dugout, you wouldn't have
Not
one
even
with
close.
him. Okay.
No.
Huh.
I don't see that as
Beer isn't even good.
first. Yeah, I don't like beer, but also even if it would have to be extreme circumstances, and even then I'd probably still say no.
I mean, I think I would. Let's say if I'm 21, I think if a MLB player was wanted to have a beer with me, I'd be flattered enough to where I would have one for sure.
No.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm not sitting there, and if Charlie Morton comes up and be like, "You want to?"
I didn't say Charlie Morton. I didn't say
No,
Charlie
you just
Morton.
said MLB player. It's the only guy in my head because he sold us last
I guess
year.
that's
But
fair.
that's where it
Yeah.
is. I'm not doing that. I'm cool, whatever. Jorge Mateo comes up, be like, cool, you're cool, but you don't earn my.
Katie, if Jose Altuve wanted to have a beer with you, would you drink a beer with him? I assume you're not. Yeah.
Me and Jose Altuve.
Assuming you're 21 years old, of course.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Well, me and Jose Altuve were basically the same person.
Same height.
So we would have to. Well, same height, same birthday.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
We shared a birthday with Grady Jarrett.
We look pretty similar.
He's
Same-
Mexican.
Same age.
You're white.
range.
Yeah.
He's not Mexican.
Same
but
hairstyle.
He's brown.
Is he from the
Is
Dominican?
he Muslim?
He's
Oh.
from
Puerto-
Venezuela.
So
He's
is
from where?
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Acuna.
You know I know every country in South America off the top of my head.
Wow. We don't want to hear it.
No, I wasn't going to.
Okay, good. Well, I'll get us back to what we're talking about.
Thank you.
I think clearly the root of the issue is not Castellanos having a beer. It's obviously the effect that he was having on the team and on the team culture. I think it's obviously in whatever the news report was, it was like, well, he was having a beer. And obviously that's what people are going to take and run with. From that perspective, it is kind of funny that he got, released for having a beer. But clearly that's not truly what the root is. And a team wouldn't do that if that was really the real reason.
Yeah, I don't care about this at all. I think if this wasn't I think if this wasn't even reported, no one would care about this. It's just because he got released and now this story pops up. I don't think this is necessarily. I think this is a bad look for the Phillies, but I think it's also a bad look for the league because you don't see a lot of other professional sports leagues with players bringing alcohol onto the field. So for this to happen to Major League Baseball, I mean, just because Castellanos did it, this could also influence other players to do the same thing as well if this wasn't enforced, like Castellanos leaving the Phillies. So I do think that a guy having alcohol in the dugout is a bad look for the league as a whole. But overall, I don't think this impacts too much, except maybe, obviously, the locker room, because obviously the Phillies, I mean, if this happens and Schwarber's not wanting to talk about it and no one else is really wanting to say anything, obviously there was some other underlying issues with the alcohol being in there. And considering he was benched and then he got it, this says that this goes a lot deeper than the story says.
I think the Phillies clubhouse is also, the clubhouse morale over there, I don't think is doing very well because the other day Bryce Harper got interviewed a little while ago. Their owner in a press conference called Harper not elite, like not an elite player anymore, and Harper got asked about that and he seemed quite upset about it. So I mean, I just don't know how your star player would feel after just not calling them an elite player anymore. as well with the Castellanos stuff, and then they also still have Alec Boehm on that team who throws a temper tantrum every single game. I mean, yeah, that team has issues.
This kind of feels like a tipping point to maybe we're about to see the Phillies implode next season. Because I do feel like that team as a whole, if you look at them, it's a lot of kind of older veteran guys.
It's the exact same team
They
that
all
they've had.
believe they all feel like they have this mindset where they think they're the best players in the league, and every single one of them think they're the best player on the team. So that's the vibe they give me. So I can see how that would be a very toxic locker room.
I think Mets, Braves, Phillies, one team is going to implode in their era of whatever they are currently is going to be over this season. One team's going to be underwhelming, and one team's going to just be really, really good. And I don't know which is which, but I feel like that's going to happen.
I hope the Phillies implode. I hope the Mets are underwhelming, and I hope the Braves are good.
I think we all agree with you.
I hope we have a new team to talk about now.
I really do.
I don't want Braves. I don't want Phillies. I don't want Mets.
I hope
don't
both.
We'll have Dodgers and Yankees.
I want Cardinals.
Talk about
No,
athletics.
I've thought about this for a long time. There's like 24 MLB teams that have never come up in this history
Yeah,
of this shit.
no Blue Jays.
Talk about the Rockies.
We need to talk about the deep cut.
Yeah.
The deep cut.
The Rockies, White Sox. Let's talk about them.
On to the Dodgers, Mara.
Yeah, let's bring it back, and we're talking about money. When asked about the Dodgers, Manny Machado, did I say that right? Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Said, and this is a PG version of what he said, "I love it. Every team should be doing it. That is great for the game." Then Steve Cohen today said they're formidable. They have the ability to spend, and so do I. So here's a simple question for you guys. How do we feel about the players and the front offices of other teams agreeing with what LA is doing? And are we seeing an even bigger problem arise?
You said, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Riley, you said you wanted to say the quote directly?
No.
You don't want to say it? Okay.
I literally
They
I think
said,
they got the gist from what I said, no?
I effing love it. Every team should be doing it. That shit is fucking great for the game. That was a direct quote. I have a lot to say about this. I think Manny Machado, so I think you have to break this down a little bit better. In terms of, I feel like we always talk about how this affects us as fans, because we're fans of baseball. Okay, we can't really take any other perspective except for fans, and I guess cosplaying as analysts and stuff. If you want to be generous, I think if we talk about from a player's perspective, every player is going to say this about this league, okay? Because every player wants all other players to make as much money as possible. Pat McAfee always says on the Pat McAfee show, he always talks about, whenever he criticizes a player, he always says, I hope this player plays for 1 billion years and makes $1 billion, but, he can't rush a passer, he's probably gonna get cut. Like, that's how Pat McAfee goes about things. Players do the same thing. And I think Manny Machado said something that was very interesting, because I want to get in the perspective of someone like this to understand this better, to then criticize it. He said, I think that every team has the ability to do what the Dodgers are doing, and I hope other teams can learn from that. I think there's some semblance of truth in that statement, right? I think if you look at the owners and how much money they have, the idea of like, hey, you know what? Let's get deep into the red, deep on expenses, pay way too much money, go into horrible debt, but trust that if we have the World Series contending success the Dodgers have had and build that brand, build that value, tap into another international market like they've been able to, if we're able to do all of that, we'll make that money back, and let's take a massive risk, massive reward approach and spend like the Dodgers spend. If every team does that, contracts continue to spike up, players are truly making billions of dollars, and then Manny Machado can see the sport that he played for a long time and can see it prosper and theoretically make a lot more money. All the players make more money, and there just be more money in the league. That concept makes sense for players, and I think every player, Bryce Harper talked about this last year. I think Bryce Harper has the same process in his mind. He's like, man, if all these owners spent like the Dodgers spent, my final contract might be the biggest contract I ever make. Like there's that concept and that idea of like making the league get healthier and better. But as fans, we all know that that's not going to happen, and it's bad. But I wanted to talk, because we're all going to talk about why we hate this and why there needs to be a salary cap and stuff. But I wanted to talk about his perspective first, I guess. That's why I interrupted you to go first.
Yeah, it's a great theory, but it's really just not possible anymore for all the players to get what they want and all the teams to get what they want because they have the amount of money. Like at the rate that we're going, that's not possible for this league. And the fact that Machado's saying that this is great for the game, no, it's not at all. It's not great for the game at all. If he can love it, that's fine. And every team should be doing it, that's true. But the fact that this is great for the game, it's absolutely not true. It's not great for the game.
I mean, at the end of the day, there is not an endless supply of money in this world. It might seem like it to the Dodgers, but to most baseball owners, even though they are all extremely wealthy, they don't have an endless supply of money. They can't just be handing out a $1 billion contract, then another $1 billion contract, then another one. And also, not that obviously these players are extremely talented and they deserve to be paid a lot, but at a certain point, like, when is it just greedy? Like, when are they just getting, like, way too much money? And I feel like at some point that is going to get crossed, and I think it might have already been crossed.
I think the thing that I noticed first was the two guys that we mentioned is Manny Machado and Steve Cohen. The reason why is I feel like these two have benefited so much off there not being a cap space in the league, because you think about it. Steve Cohen owns the Mets. Don't they have one of the highest payrolls in the league?
Yep.
Secondly, Manny Machado went from the Orioles to the Dodgers and to the Padres. He banks off these teams with big money. Hasn't won done much with it. But it's very revealing that two guys that have benefited so much off there being no cap space are the first ones to talk about it. That's why they're saying things, because the more money they get, because the Padres could go crazy on bankroll and end up winning the World Series. So for me, this just showcases what the league is about right now. It's about building super teams. It's what the NBA is doing right now. Their whole goal is, let's build super teams. Let's get stars play with stars. I want to go back to stars want to beat stars. I want the best of the best to play against each other, not with each other. That's competition. This is just a pansy league at this point, is what it is. Every good player is going to the Dodgers because they know they can win one now. That means for the other guys, they believe they can't win with them. This is why I think teams like the Blue Jays last year, who obviously aren't the first favorite to win the World Series, it was the Dodgers. If they would have done it, I would have considered it one of the biggest upsets in baseball history if they would have done that, considering the Dodgers right now look like they're about to go for a dynasty. So I think, in my opinion, obviously this sucks for the league. Two guys that benefited off of it the most should not be the ones talking about this.
I agree with most of what you said. Like, I am one that I always remember the quote for, like, NBA. It's like Michael Jordan said that he would never want to sign or ask, Magic or Larry Bird to come to his team because then he wants to compete with them. It's the bar that is set in front of him to compete, and it makes everything more enjoyable. I personally think LeBron ruined this whole thing going to Miami. He was the biggest star to then go to a super team to try and win a championship. There were reasons, makes sense, whatever. But that seemed to be like the major trend of all of a sudden players, and you see it in every sport. Now you have rivalries. Like, for example, most of the 4 or 5 Ravens last year went to the Steelers when the Steelers and Ravens have like bad blood between them. Now LeBron's not the only one capable, but I just like to mark that as the beginning point.
That's a great.
That's a great
because
spot.
I'm not criticizing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just know I know we had a debate, like a long debate, but I'm like, I think that was the turning point of stars realizing, if we team up together, we're even better. But my thing is that I don't like when players play for money. You got to play for the love of game. However, with that being said, I freaking love what the Dodgers are doing. And now this is not me saying that.
Really?
This is not me saying that like it's great to have an overpowered team, but if you have the freedom and you have the money and no one's stopping you, go after it. It's how you win. You're not breaking any rules. You just have more money. And for Steve Cohen to come out here and go, well, I can spend too, then do it. Spend.
Yeah,
because if you did spend.
Well, he does.
He does.
He
but
does. It doesn't go
matter.
well.
It
Correct.
doesn't matter
So
this
if
point.
he does spend and you say you have the ability to do it and you try to spend but then you get the wrong player, then something is up. Because if you say you can spend, either outbid the Dodgers or get a better scouting staff or get new glasses because you are not finding the talent you need with the money you're giving. That's just not what you're doing.
I
I
think
think
some of
it's
your
not-
argument is correct.
And so-
No, I think
I
it's,
agree. Or sorry.
You got it.
I agree to the point that Steve Cohen is doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he is not breaking any rules. But I disagree. There does need to be a salary cap. It does need to be stopped. It needs to be the Dodgers should not be able to do what they're doing.
Brian, it's the same way I feel about the NIL. Like, I have no problem if a big program spends a ton of money and gets all the best recruits. I don't blame them. I would do the same thing. If I was the head of Ohio State's recruiting basis, alumni in terms of money distribution, and they were like, here's $500 million, go get players. I would go get a bunch of recruits, pay them a ton of money. But it's the regulation from the leagues that I have a problem with.
There's no restriction.
Yeah, the
and that's the
morals.
problem.
Correct, and it's the same way that Dabo's looked at players in the football, Luke Ferrelli.
Ferrelli, yeah.
And he's like, I don't blame the kid, I blame the staff that
Yeah,
did it. I blame the
blame
team that
the
did it. So yes, morally and how I feel, it should be a salary cap. There should be some way to regulate how much money each team can spend. However, right now at this current moment, I hate that all these people are whining that the Dodgers are literally playing within the rules as they're stated right now. They're playing within their limits to be able to do it. They just have more money. But until the league takes notice and takes action, I'm not going to whine that the Dodgers are taking advantage of it. They have the biggest market in the entire MLB. Any LA team really does. If you look at the Lakers, if you look at the Rams, if you look, Chargers just have no fan base, but they have money. So like everyone there, like you have the freedom to do it. The Dodgers happen to be doing it, but everyone's whining because they're getting outbid because they don't have the money. And I understand that frustration.
They don't.
See,
They don't get. See, like example, Steve Cohen. He outbids the Dodgers. He beats the Dodgers in that aspect. The only reason the players don't go there is because the Dodgers have already built this spectacular team that, even though you have more money over here at the Mets, the Dodgers are a way better looking team than the Mets because the Mets haven't done crap. But they have the money, but so did the Dodgers just for a lower price. But they're a much better team. That's the problem. The Dodgers have already ruined, like, there's no turning back because they already have a spectacular team and there's no like fixing that at this point.
I agree.
Yeah, past 5
Honestly,
years they've won 3
so
World Series.
long because they have all these players on long contracts all until the salary cap happens and they truly just can't spend endless money on players anymore, and then all the players that are on contracts their contracts start expiring. That's when the issue will be fixed. But for the foreseeable future, it's just going to be a thing that we talk about every single week.
And that's our one thing I want to say is that these Dodgers are signing multiple players. I don't know how many
Yeah.
players are on these long, expensive deals because they're literally their starting lineup looks like an all-star lineup. That's what
Yeah.
it looks like right now. So at some point, players are going to realize, yeah, I could play for the Dodgers, but maybe I go to another team where I can actually have a chance to start or be one of the top hitters rather than just being a part of the Dodgers at the 9th batter. And that's where I'm like, if you're going to spend one offseason, don't just spend one offseason and never try to spend again. Because that's what a lot of owners do, and it's a big mistake, whether it's any sport at any amount of money. Like they go big, and I've seen it with the Ravens before. They go big into like a market, into a trade, and then the other team's like, no, we have a better offer, we're going to go with this team, and then they just don't trade, they don't spend, they don't attempt to get anyone for like years.
I love what the Dodgers are doing. It obviously sounds like I don't like what they're doing. Yes, I think they're obviously doing it very legally and they're doing it the right way. I just feel like, and you brought up LeBron earlier, and you brought up the Heat. I feel like if the Blue Jays last year would have won the World Series, it would have felt like what Dirk did with the Mavs against LeBron and the Heat. A super team versus a team that honestly shouldn't have been there beats a super team. So I do feel like obviously what the Dodgers are doing is completely fair. Like it's what the league is. I feel like it would be much more interesting and honestly better for baseball if there was a cap space and they were still doing what they're doing. Because if there was a cap space in the league where owners couldn't spend as much money as honestly they want to, I feel like a three-peat would be much more interesting. But because there's no restrictions to what you can or cannot do, especially with money, it obviously makes it less interesting. Because I want to see a team with every single team has the same amount of money almost, and yet have the same success that the Dodgers have had. I feel like that would change much of the conversation we're having.
And I think just one more thing before we move on. But you were saying you want them to spend big year after year. But the definition of what big has become in the past few years is so insane. Like, I remember when Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. It was like 300 something million.
That was a big deal.
And that was crazy. And now people are getting triple that. And it's just been like, I don't know, like 5 years?
Bryce Harper signed that in 2019.
So 7 years. Like, it really has not been that long. And for contracts to literally triple is crazy to me.
Did he get an extension, Harper?
It was like
I just want Cohen to live up to his word.
It was just like a
He says he
12-year,
does, do it.
330.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
and that
still
was
on the same contract.
insane. That was like record breaking. And now if I saw a 12-year, 330, I'd be like,
cheap.
they're an average player.
Cheap.
Like, yeah, it
This
is
is turning
it's
into NBA
insane.
money.
Yeah.
NBA money's insane, and this is turning exactly into that.
And for our next segment, we have everyone's favorite buy or sell. The Tigers have a top 3 rotation in the AL. What do we think? Buy, sell?
Wait, we're changing that to top 3 rotation in the MLB.
I think we should just change it to best rotation in the MLB.
Okay, thanks
So we're
for
all
letting me
buying-
know ahead of time,
All
guys.
buying on top 3.
I'm buying on best rotation in the
Yeah, the best
MLB.
rotation in the MLB. Yes,
No,
absolutely.
just top 3.
Because Scooball is
No.
the best pitcher in the MLB by so much, and
The
I think,
it's the Dodgers who easily have the best rotation in the MLB.
yeah, you're right. I want to say this real quick though. At some point in Scooball's Tigers career, they're gonna upset an insane juggernaut in-conference team in a 3-game series. Scooball is just gonna pitch and allow 1 run, and they're just gonna beat like a 105-win Yankees team in the wild card round, or the whatever. The first 3-game series round. That's gonna happen at some point, and y'all mark my words there. And I'm excited for it. I low-key thought it was gonna happen last year.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and buy. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit biased because, Framber Valdez just recently signed with the Tigers, and he was one of the best pitchers the Astros had. He's so good. He shows up in big moments. In the 2022 World Series, he won that for us. He was great that whole, postseason. And then, of course, Tyreek Skubal, best pitcher in the game. And, Riley, the Dodgers, you think they have the best rotation? Okay. Not that, like, whatever MLB.com
That's insane.
matters the most, and obviously, like, they can be wrong, but they have them tied for 10th.
10th? Do I need to look at this again?
I'm
Am I
literally
for-
look, I'm
am I
looking at.
forgetting
Oh wait,
something?
This is 1-2 punches, but
Right.
but
last year.
I mean, as far as 1-2 punches go, at least you can't get better in the league than Tyreek Skubal or Framber Valdez. I would say the only thing that comes close is maybe the Red Sox with.
Are you serious? We
Wow.
have Otani, we have Yamamoto, we have Blake Snell, we have Roki Sasaki. I'm still going.
That's not
We have
two.
Tyler Glass now.
That's not a 1-2 punch.
I know.
I'm talking about. We're saying rotation.
I know.
I'm saying
When I
rotation.
said I was talking about
You
1-2.
said
I
Yeah,
three,
and
then
that's
you
what
said
it
1-2, then you named 5 people.
Yeah.
Because
we're
I was
bouncing a little bit.
was talking about rotation. Tanner's. Oh wait, that's a reliever.
I know. I corrected myself.
What is
They-
the
You just name
baseline?
everybody.
What is the baseline question? Because I've heard 4 different questions.
Top
Best
3
1-2
rotation.
punch. No.
Yeah.
I'm so lost.
Top 3
Christ.
rotation in the league.
Oh, well, I'm buying on this, obviously. I mean, I think with the addition of, obviously, Valdez was really big for them. Jack Flaherty was another big one. Verlander, he's obviously going to be like the 4th or 5th guy.
Verlander's
He-
not gonna do anything.
He's not going to do
Let's
anything, but
be
the
so
fact that
for
he's
real.
there is.
But I'm
the reason
actually
why they're
really
getting
upset
high
about
up.
this because you know what this means? He's gonna go into the Hall of Fame as a Tiger.
Yeah, that kind of makes
Ooh,
sense.
ow.
Didn't he win a Cy Young there?
That took me so long.
Yeah, he won a Cy Young
And-
there, and then
Did he win 2?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was already solidified.
No, but he won the World Series. He couldn't win a World Series. No, he won one in. Shoot, I'm a big fan. He won one in Houston for sure, and then won the World Series in Houston. And then he had a Cy Young, I know, with the Tigers, but I feel like he had one more.
Yeah,
think he had
with
2.
the
He was. I think he's had 2.
Anyways,
has.
it was definitely like I don't know, like he's probably gonna go in like without a cap or like neutral,
Me with Freddie.
and I think this really solidifies that he's gonna go in as a Tiger.
Freddie better not go in as a Dodger, bro.
I'm going sell.
Wow.
Screw all this.
Who are the 3 better?
Yeah.
What
let's-
are you
Who are the 3 that's better?
Let's hear
I think in order
Dodgers are
in order to be in the rotation, you have to have a rotation, and I don't trust Flaherty or Verlander at this stage.
Flaherty's.
Okay, but name 3.
I know Flaherty.
Name 3 teams where you trust. All
I don't
5
even know
pitchers.
3 pitchers in the MLB, but I know
Okay,
this ain't in
well,
the top
no,
league.
but I think you're holding him to too high of a standard. I think I don't.
I know
think-
the Dodgers
I
are
don't think
absolutely
I can give
one.
you 3 teams with 5 pitchers I fully trust. I don't think I could. Could you? Could you give me 3 teams with
I
5
don't,
pitchers?
but that's my
I fully
thing. I don't trust.
Yeah, the
I
regular
don't trust all
Dodgers.
4 of them.
3 teams
I
with
trust
5
their
pitchers
top
I fully
2, and I think
Dod-
their top 2
Dod-
are
I
really
think
good.
No,
Dodgers.
3 teams with 5 pitchers I fully trust.
Oh,
Do-
5?
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
no
that's
one.
right.
No
That's what
one
I'm
has a
saying.
team like that.
Yeah.
The only team that you can even put into that conversation is
Is
the
the
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
You can't even put
Yeah.
the
That's
That's what I'm
Tigers in that
saying. You're saying you
conversation.
don't trust players and therefore they're not top 3. I think you can say I don't trust Jack Flaherty and their top
Flaherty.
3 rotation. I think both
I
those teams
think-
can exist.
I don't know,
don't
but
trust
also I think having just like 2 really solid guys is so important, especially when the postseason comes around, because you can win a World Series with 2 really solid guys and 2 kind of sucky guys, because they can still pitch 4 times, those 2 guys.
But to me, that's like not a rotation. That's just 2 really good, strong pitchers. A rotation is at least 3 people or better, and the only team that I think really has that good of an argument for it is the Dodgers. So I guess by default, maybe they go into top 3 because you want to put them up there, but I don't even put them up there. I don't think they'll be in top 3.
I think
you're
the- I
holding
think the-
pitching rotation's too high of a standard. I think
I'm just holding rotation to its definition,
Yeah.
which is multiple different people.
Well, it's
and I
like,
think 2 doesn't
linemen in the
work.
NFL. Like
Well,
I mean, like
yes,
there's like 2 teams
it's
with
multiple
5
different
linemen.
people, but like let's say you had one really great, let's say a starter or a rotation was 2 people, and you had a really great person, a terrible person, and it was average, or 2 average people, it would still be equal.
But if you have 5 and you have
You know
2
what I'm saying?
average, then you're still below average. Because if you have 2, let's say you have a 5-game
Not
series.
unless they're really good or really good.
Yeah, but then you still only win 2 games.
That's
So
like,
then out of
that's
5
like,
games, you win 2 and lose
That's
3.
like
Yeah,
the
but
Pirates. The Pirates
Again,
and Paul Skeens.
if
That's
every
good
team's
rotation.
5th pitcher is bad, then relatively speaking, no team's 5th pitcher is too bad. Like you're talking about an automatic loss on the 5th pitcher, but if everyone has the automatic loss of the 5th pitcher, then it all evens back out and stuff.
then it goes back to 4. But I'm still saying in a whole rotation of 5 people, and you go 5 games, that means 5 different pitchers are pitching at that time, and you only have 2 good top-end starters, you're still only winning 2 games. Doesn't matter how many points you score.
Listen, I'm trusting.
Yes, because bad pitchers never win a game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like bad pitchers play against bad pitchers sometimes.
Bryce
and they win a
Elder
game.
even wins some games.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Charlie
I
Morton
Yeah.
won a lot.
Flaherty
No, I
and
know.
Verlander.
Flaherty was 8-15 last year.
I know
So,
that.
like, it all depends on the offense side of the ball, too. But, like, personally, I don't really trust this as a top 3. And am I partly doing this
get
for
that.
argument?
Verlander is. Okay,
Well,
Brian, I get that.
Sorry, go ahead, Jackson. But please say
No,
your...
I get it. Verlander is older and Flaherty's never been the guy in the league, but I honestly still trust Verlander as to be a guy to bring in the 5th spot. I think honestly he's even a 4th or maybe 3rd spot in other teams' rotations. So I think adding him on top of that, considering he could be the 4th or 5th guy, that shows the strength of the Tigers' rotation.
I think personally, as someone that loves Verlander, I thought he's gonna retire like 4 different times now. Like, I truly if he pitches, like, he's barely gonna pitch any innings, and he's probably gonna get injured halfway through the season. Like, I just don't see him being really any real asset to the team.
Is that everyone? Can we talk about Chris Paul?
hey, wait.
Okay.
And flipping the script a little bit, we have Chris Paul's out of the blue retirement and one of the worst retirement tours of all time. But who is Chris Paul's MLB comparison?
It is one of the worst retirement tours of all time. Like it's so I don't know if y'all put that in the script.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's so sad, and I don't want that to taint the legacy of Chris Paul because I really love Chris. You're rolling your
Like, why do you have to take the microphone?
Because
there.
I want this audio
can
to come.
hear
I want
you.
this audio to carry. I hate the audio in the other episodes and stuff. It sounds pretty bad.
Most people hear him.
I want to be heard. Okay.
Now I can't talk because he has a freaking microphone.
What?
Go.
Okay. I feel like Chris Paul. So who here was alive in 2005? Mara, were you alive? You were alive in 2005?
I was born at the
December,
end.
yeah. Okay, so there's 3 people. Chris Paul was drafted in 2005. So that's before half of this panel's lifetime. Okay, he played for a long time, and I think recency can make you kind of feel a little lower on Chris Paul than you should. I think I wrote an article on him, a long article, when I did a blog called At the Buzzer in high school, my sophomore year. I wrote like a 2,000-word article on him when he was on the Phoenix Suns doing that whole run and stuff, and how he's one of the greatest point guards of all time. Statistically, he's 2nd in assists and steals just behind John Stockton. He's 6th in career earnings. He's a 11-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Star, I believe. I think that I think he's an underrated player, and I'm going to compare him to a pretty properly rated player, so it might be a little bit hotter of a take, but I have Ichiro Suzuki as my comparison. I think the mystique of Ichiro coming in at 27 years old out of Japan and then playing for 20 years is completely unlike anything Chris Paul has ever done. But I think the idea of being unbelievably like low-key, reliable, and just beloved and just being a harmless, makes everyone better. He's reliable. He's a go-to guy. I could never see Chris Paul making a mistake. I can never see Ichiro Suzuki making a mistake in their entire careers. I think they're both so aggressively stable and persistent that they become elite. And that's why I think that Chris Paul and Ichiro, I would say they're both top 30 all-time players in their respective leagues, and that's my comparison for Chris Paul.
I didn't put that much thought into it, but the player I chose was Jose Ramirez, because he's usually always finishing top 5 in MVP voting. Like, you don't hear it because he's a very quiet player, but he's there. He's there almost every single season. And like Chris Paul, MVP caliber player, probably Hall of Fame. I don't know about Jose Ramirez, but that never won a ring. The only thing I have is that I would argue Chris Paul was a ring chaser, and Jose Ramirez is not that because he stayed with the Guardians his whole career. But other than that, that was my comparison for Chris Paul.
Make this one sentence. I feel like Chris Paul started chasing a ring at like 35 and then just played for so long that we think of it. But like, I mean, every player when they turn like 35 you can call a ring chaser. But I see what you mean.
I didn't know this was a question.
Really?
No, is it on the script?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's there.
I swear I wrote it, but I didn't clearly. I don't know. Come back to me. We'll see if I think of someone by the end of it.
I'm going to say Mike Trout.
That's
Oh.
bold.
I tried.
It actually
to say
said do
Mike
not
Trout.
pick Mike Trout, and I didn't put that on there.
No,
but
I did.
Why
I
not
know,
pick
I
Mike
didn't
Trout?
say it out
Because
loud.
Mike
that's the
Trout.
obvious answer.
Is that- Mike Trout
It's the obvious answer.
I feel like
To me, that's like
it was
The
my
obvious
first
goat
choice.
that's never won a ring. That's the obvious goat who's never won a ring.
But
Well,
Mike
it's not even
Trout
like
is
a-
so much.
But it's not even like a goat. My thing is like, think about like the teams that he's been on. Mike Trout's been the star on his teams for most of his years, except for a little tiny stint in which he had Ohtani with him, correct? And Ohtani was on the come up. Think about like Chris Paul's legacy. Chris Paul was the one guy on the Hornets.
He was a bobcat.
Bobcat and then Hornets. He was the only guy there for years until he went over to the Clippers and then had Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, but they never won a ring. Never got to the actual like ALCS or like, the champion, or maybe they did and they never won it because they never hit the finals. Then after that, as his superstars leave and he switches teams, he comes and maybe has like another player or two that he's like good with. However, he starts getting injury prone and ends up his career with no ring at all. And to me, that's how Mike Trout feels. Reliable. I think they were both in like a lot of commercials around the same time as the two. But there's no ring. They're reliable. They were the best player at their position. The only difference I think is Chris Paul was never really regarded as the best player in basketball, as Mike Trout was regarded as the
Yeah,
best player.
Mike Trout was the best player in baseball for like 8 years, and Chris Paul was never the best player in basketball.
But Chris Paul was arguably a top 5 for years.
I feel like Mike Trout's like Giannis. Like, I mean, he's like a top, like Jokic. Like, I feel like Mike
No,
Trout's
because
a
Mike
lot
Trout gets
better.
too injury prone. I think Chris Paul's injury prone later in the career was matched it more. I think
Then Joel Embiid. No, who's an injury-prone superstar?
No, because Joel Embiid didn't earn any of his.
Joel Embiid wasn't. Joel Embiid's bad at basketball. Yeah.
Yeah, my first pick obviously was Mike Trout, but like y'all said, it was obviously the easiest pick.
How's that an obvious? I feel like that's really far off.
There's people
what'd you
saying,
say? Mike
why
Trout's
is he
closer to
not on the
LeBron.
Team USA team?
I feel like
because
Mike-
they want to get him
yeah.
some sort of ring.
I feel like
That's
Mike
how
Trout's
bad it
closer
is.
to LeBron than he is to Chris Paul. Mike Trout's like the goat of this era and stuff. I feel like of the right pre-Otani post like Barry Bonds. Mike Trout's the
Pre-Otani,
goat.
yes, I think
No,
Trout.
because
I think Trout
LeBron
was the
still
best
won
player.
championships. If Mike Trout was very good for what he did, but the fact that he couldn't get over the hump as the best player in baseball,
That's why I had
it's
him as
tough.
the
It's 9
obvious
players,
answer.
but that's where I think he fits closer.
I
to
think
Chris
at one
Paul.
point he was the best player. That team he's just.
I think the
just
best.
sucks.
It does,
I think
yeah.
the
It's
best
just
player in
badly
basketball in the
run.
2010s was LeBron, and the best player in baseball in the 2010s was Mike Trout. And that's not even like a really close argument. I feel.
Yeah, but then the best player in football was Tom Brady, but you're going to say Tom Brady's like Mike Trout.
Well, Tom
I
Brady
would
won
say
7
I wouldn't
rings.
say yeah. No, I feel like that's. But Tom Brady also won a lot, and I also think being a quarterback matters a lot more than being a hitter on a baseball team. I think you can add a lot more value doing that.
I'm just curious on what the similarities would be because I feel like Tom Brady and Mike Trout are about the opposite you could get.
Yeah,
from right
I thought about Mike
But I
Trout.
mean, if Mike, yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
we
I
got this
thought,
debate later.
yeah, I thought about him as the first guy, but then I kind of thought about it, and I did look it up. Obviously, baseball players in the Hall of Fame that never won a ring. I think Ken Griffey Jr. would have been a great
I
one pick
saw
for
that
him.
too. But
That's
Ken
a
Griffey
good one.
Ken Griffey Jr. is so sexy. That's why I went away from that. But the resume is similar.
State
You know,
Farm?
Yeah, I mean,
he's
he was-
flashy.
I mean,
he's
think about
fun.
it. He was on the Mariners, and sort of like
Yeah.
the Angels. They don't sort of like the Clippers or whatnot. They haven't really done much with the team that they've
Bobcats.
built around him. Obviously, Trout has obviously stayed with the Angels, but then obviously Ken Griffey went for the Reds and several other teams and never really won anything like Chris Paul. Chris Paul went to other teams, tried to win a ring off of that, never could. Same thing with Griffey.
You could say
think-
Machado. Machado
I think-
might almost fit in that.
No,
think
no,
Ken-
He has a
no.
ring.
He has a ring.
I think
yeah, that's
Ken
right.
Griffey,
That's right.
like kids, like people
thinking late
born in the
teens.
late '70s, early '80s that were like teenagers when Ken Griffey was around. Like he was like the Anthony Edwards of their era. Like he was very cool, dynamic, explosive personality, and Chris Paul was so far from that. But like, I don't hate the resume so much. I don't hate that.
No.
Katie, I would love to hear yours. If I don't like it, I'm gonna really attack this one. you
Well, I
know.
just asked ChatGPT some players that I thought
Can't
you
lie, I
were.
did the same thing.
Stop doing that. This is every time.
Did you even pretend to throw something at
No,
me?
I scratched my nose. Look at that. We'll go back to the tape. Yeah.
I clearly have PTSD.
Survival skills are good, I guess.
I looked on ChatGPT for players that have never won a ring but were really good, and it told me Shohei Ohtani.
Okay, so that's fair.
And I was like, okay, well clearly this is wrong, and I can't listen to any of these answers, so I never came up with an answer.
I'm on. Wait, did you get one or no?
No,
Oh.
that's what I just.
I'm on Talking Baseball because this is where I actually got the question from his MLB comp. A lot of people are saying Joey Votto. which
See, that's
I get. I do see a Jose Ramirez in here. I do Joey Votto.
I don't see Votto.
he's just
Yes.
again. I think
I
Chris
really
Paul.
like the J.
I think the best thing about Chris Paul
Reds the entire
was
time.
the consistency. Like Chris Paul was like a 13-time All-Star. Joey Votto is a 6-time All-Star. Like I think that like he was 9 straight All-NBA appearances.
who
I
else
feel
was
like it's the
consistent?
persistence.
Or like
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout was
Such
consistently
the
the
obvious
best.
answer.
obviously
Future
like
Suzuki.
You never put it on the script.
I did, but
You didn't put it on the script. I read the script. The
Mara
script
didn't
didn't
say
have
it on her.
I just
followed
didn't
the
read it out
script.
loud.
I feel like you could make a argument for Vlad. I feel like
He's
to
too
me-
young.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Chris Paul
not
played
yet.
Too young. and
Not
hasn't
yet.
started
Joey
hot
Votto
out
played
yet.
What am I saying? Like Adam Jones?
If Vlad played for 21 years and at the level he played last year, I think it'd be a good comp. But that's a long ways.
If Vlad hops around from team to team,
Would you say
then
Adam
that's
Jones?
when the argument pops up.
Chris Paul, I feel like he just did that when he was really old, and we were like, it's the same as you talking about Verlander.
Yeah,
Like, it's like
and Vlad is still young, and he stayed on the same team. It's
like,
since
yeah,
since he was drafted.
No.
Chris Paul was on
I'm like
the.
thinking, like I think Adam Jones could be an actual comparable like pick there.
Adam Jones.
What?
The center fielder for the Orioles.
That name sounds weird.
It was like
Give me a second.
consistent. Like for a few years, he was regarded as one of the best defensive centers of like the entire league, just because he was that good. And he was like a savior in USA, which Chris Paul was sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think, and he jumped around. He went to like the Mariners, to the D-backs, to the Orioles. Like he jumped around a little bit, and he never won a ring. But he was always on decent teams.
I kind of see that.
Just a stretch, but I think
Looking at it,
I
I
think
can see it.
Chris Paul's so much better. I want to say too, Chris Paul was on a horrible team through his rookie contract and through restricted free agency. He then went to the Lob City Clippers, who were a fine team that gave him the most money. He's one of the most highest career earning players of all time. He went there, and then he was traded when he was 31. That had nothing to do, or 32. That had nothing to do with him. The first time and then he went to OKC. The first time he went to free agency and said, "I'm going to go to the best team," was the year he was 35 years old. So I feel like, obviously, since then, he went to Phoenix for 3 years, then to Golden State, and then San Antonio. I feel like he's chased the ring since then. But, like, I mean, how many players turn 35 and, like, start chasing a ring? Like, I mean, would you say Freddie Freeman was a ring chaser his whole career? Like, obviously not. Freddie was 33, went to the Dodgers. Like, I think that, like, players turn 35, fall off, try to get one more year. It's just Chris Paul lasted longer than he maybe should have. I don't know.
I don't know. Adam Jones went to the
Yeah.
Mariners for 2 years, then went to the Orioles for like 8, and then went to the D-backs for 1 when he was like 30-something, and then he never won
Is
a
Adam
ring.
Jones, like,
I
one
like
of the
the
best
Joey
baseball players ever?
Votto take.
I wouldn't say one of the best ever,
No,
but he,
not,
like
not-
I would
definitely
argue
not one of the best ever, but
he was like one of the
good.
best center fielders
He
when
was
he
good
played
for a while.
with the Orioles. He was my favorite player growing up.
Really? Nice.
Well, I don't think we're ever gonna come to one answer. I think it's pretty subjective.
You're going like
So
this for an hour. For an hour.
And with that, probably our longest Touching All Bases episode ever. I don't know. Thank you so much to our amazing panel and everyone in the background. I'm Mark Kane, and we'll catch you next time on Touching All Bases.